I don't care about Chris Cuomo, broadly speaking. I really don't. I mean, I don't. I've watched his show, I don't know, 2 times. I mean, maybe not fully, but
it'd be odd to sit down and watch it, actually.
Like from start to finish. Is he at 9 p.m.? Do we know? No, because we don't even know.
I think it's 9 p.m. I watch it.
Okay.
I watched it, I should say, during the height of
Aaron Burnett.
I just want to say that regardless of what Chris Cuomo did or did not do, CNN should have taken him off the air.
100%.
Or they should have said, okay, Chris Cuomo's brother is governor of New York State. We're going to have, if we ever do reporting on Chris Cuomo's brother, Steve McKenzie or Janet Stevenson or whoever it is going to come on and they're going to do the segment on this. It's going to be awkward, but what are you going to do? And we're going to allow him to invite his brother on one time. It'll be the Christmas special and it'll be a fun segment and that's it. Okay, this is like the functional, we got ice cream sundaes because it's Thanksgiving or something like that. You bring your brother on.
Like how quirky it is. A brother in government, a brother in media.
How can you think you maintain any type of credibility with this?
Why is this an issue now? This is like journalism 101. How is this an issue now and not 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago? It is mind-boggling that this is only now recently an issue because there were chats discovered or conversations discovered.
Which one should we do? 10 or 11? Let's do number 10.
I've told you it's never easy being in this business and coming from a political family, especially now. This situation is unlike anything I could have imagined.
I'm sorry.
Pause it. Yeah, we should come back from vacation.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, it's not easy? It's not easy. It's not easy to have your job because of your father, and it's not easy to make millions of dollars.
You should have Meghan McCain on to talk about
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
or Alicia Menendez. Or Abby Huntsman. Or Chelsea Clinton. It is you.
What's the Bush daughter?
The Bush one, Jenna Bush.
Jenna Bush.
Keep it going.
Yeah, that's probably maybe the best one.
They you know what? They should do a round table and talk about it.
Oh my God. I think they actually had that show, Sam. It was on MSNBC.
I would actually tune in for that.
Group therapy about privileged kids who got their jobs because of their family's connections.
All that happens is you get your foot in the door, which is, everybody gets their foot in the door, except for everybody who does not get their foot in the door because of your name. And then, of course, you keep going on. Because this guy is a classic host, isn't he? This guy.
And again,
exactly.
If he had done what we said, we should say to the audience, if he had done what he said, if he'd recused himself from covering his brother, if he came to this segment with humility and talked about how he got this because of probably his family's advantages. He may have worked hard, sure, but that's why he was able to get his foot in the door. I don't think we'd have a problem with it.
But here he is. He's back from vacation, right? Was he on vacation?
It was his birthday. And he takes a week off every birthday, guys. You have to make sure to mention that.
A little weird to care that much about your birthday as an adult, but...
Family, especially now. This situation is unlike anything I could have imagined. And yet I know what matters.
Pause it for 1 second. I'm sorry. You know what might have allowed you to imagine it was like when you're interviewing your brother and going hey, I wonder if this is a conflict. Just even though there's no scandal that's rocking. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. There's no scandal that caused him to resign, but there's been a lot of scandals with my brother. I mean, he got rid of the Moreland Commission, and it was because they were investigating him, and it was supposed to be an independent commission. Or there's some controversy around the IDC, or there's some controversy about him firing the MTA head, or there's some controversy about his, property taxes.
Or the fact that it was an open secret with journalists that he'd call them and berate him, and this is the industry that he works in.
I mean,
book sale.
Could you really not imagine you'd ever be in this situation where someone could be contemplating a conflict of interest? I guess maybe some people have a limited imagination. Okay.
Sam, did you not watch the segments with them? All they were doing were talking about their mama's lasagna recipe in the height of COVID and just how great it was to be eating lasagna over Zoom with all the siblings. That was their segment. That was it. There was no conflict there. While Governor Cuomo was handling the situation brilliantly and covering up all the nursing home deaths and writing about it in his book. What are you talking about? It was about lasagna.
When I got that shot, when I got first in line for the shot, because he was my brother, it never occurred to me.
Oh my God, yeah.
When I had COVID tests at the regular, when people were unable to access them,
what are you going to do?
I couldn't foresee that this might be a problem.
All right, let's.
And yet I know what matters at work and at home. Everyone knows you support your family. I know and appreciate that you get that. But you should also know I never covered my brother's troubles because I obviously have a conflict. And there are rules at CNN about that. I said last year that his appearances on this show would be short-lived. And they were. The last was over a year ago, long before any kind of scandal.
Pause it.
I also said back then.
First off, that's just simply not true, any kind of scandal. I mean, it's not even remotely close. Right. But all I did was humanize him for several months on this program, and then I said it's going to end. In other words, the fact that we only had a massive conflict of interest for a limited period of time is actually shows how good I am at this. I mean, give me a break, but continue.
For a year ago, long before any kind of scandal. I also said back then that a day would come when he would have to be held to account, and I can't do that. I said point blank, I can't be objective when it comes to my family. So I never reported on the scandal. And when it happened, I tried to be there for my brother. I'm not an advisor. I'm a brother. I wasn't in control of anything. I was there to listen and offer my take. And my advice to my brother was simple and consistent. Own what you did. Tell people what you'll do to be better. Be contrite. And finally, accept that it doesn't matter what you intended. What matters is how your actions and words were perceived. And yes, while it was something I never imagined ever having to do, I did urge my brother to resign when the time came. There are stories and critics saying all kinds of things about me.
Hold on.
Many unsupported.
Pause it. Did he just say he advised his brother to resign?
That's the news today. That advising that he did in the middle of the scandal was to say, well, I think that's the thing I'm unclear about, is when did he say to resign? Was it more recent, or was this when the first time he was advising his brother?
I think it was more recent. The day that he decided to.
Matt, you don't get it.
That's family. That's
you don't get
family.
it. Now look, he never ever covered the scandal, so he was not in a position of conflict of interest. Now, just because that means that his coverage there's no coverage of his scandals in prime time at CNN for that hour, that doesn't mean anything. There's no conflict. I'm a brother. I'm a brother.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Story selection and what you choose to cover and not cover is a part of journalism.
What? No, you don't get it. That's my critics.
Chris Cuomo took part in strategy calls advising his brother in the Washington Post, New York governors, and that's what they said.
But I did it as a brother. I had no control over what he did.
Not as an advisor. I gave advice, not as an advisor on strategy calls with the rest of his staff, but not as an advisor.
I mean, honestly, I don't have a problem with him doing that because that's his brother.
Yeah.
But you've got to, at that point, if you're going to stay on air, and CNN is more culpable, I think, than he is.
Right.
Because why he's going to go, I'm not going to give up airtime. And then his boss should have been like, yeah, you are. In fact, now, because we want you to be on air so much, every night there's going to be a 3-minute story by that reporter over there sitting at that desk who you guys don't get along is going to take 3 minutes of your show and they're going to deliver the report on because we need to now go even further to show that's the obligation. And if they had done that, fine.
Actually, they did, Sam. They did. This is the crazy part. This is the part that's crazy. They did do that once the story got out of control to cover their asses, but they didn't do that during, they didn't say, why is Andrew Cuomo on air every single night? And I was watching it.
Right. He should not be on air at all with his brother.
At all.
Humanized at any point. I don't care if he's like an angel. Like, no, sorry, dude. You just don't get to do that. That's one of the downsides. That's the price you got to pay. For being the son of a governor and a brother of a governor. I'm sorry, dude.
On how difficult it was. Like, that's really what you have to give up, right? Is that what he was talking about when he said that it was a long...
You have no idea the burdens you're going to have to deal with. But you're not going to be able to have the governor on and shoot the shit. Sorry. And that's because of your last name. Now, of course, if your last name was not Cuomo, you wouldn't have the opportunity to have the governor on and shoot the shit. So it's sort of a wash. Should we listen to more of this? Like, you know, I don't know. If I was him, I would be like, yeah, let's listen.
Stories and critics saying all kinds of things about me, many unsupported. But know this, my position has never changed. I never misled anyone about the information I was delivering or not delivering on this program. I never attacked nor encouraged anyone to attack any woman who came forward. I never made calls to the press about my brother's situation. I never influenced or attempted to control CNN's coverage of my family. And as you know, back in May, when I was told to no longer communicate with my brother's aides in any group meetings, I acknowledged it was a mistake. I apologized to my colleagues, and I stopped, and I meant it.
So you advised him. So he says, I'm not an advisor, but I was an advisor.
He had a duty to speak up.
Brother, that's the
an informal advisor. Informal.
I think he's actually doing this from a legal perspective. Like he is a lawyer. He's worried about being brought into this from a legal perspective. And so there is a family advisor and there's a legal advisor. And if you're in the middle of so many, I mean, he's being investigated from every single angle right now. I think this is a very specifically messaged monologue. And it's not about what the audience thinks. It's about protecting him and his job and the company. You know that lawyers were all over that.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.